Hello everybody. Today I want to talk about something which I'm very excited, which is Capture One. Now people know me, should know that I have been advocating the use of Capture One in your professional workflow. It has been serving me very well in the past. And recently, Capture One came up with a new version which they call Capture One Studio. So what is it different from the ordinary Capture One Pro, and why should we be using it? Now, Capture One came up with this new version of Capture One Studio, and it has something to do with the fact that, actually, Capture One, they got an enterprise version, which I have not been using it at all in the past. And there are some functions which originally they got it only in the enterprise version, and now they are coming up with this Capture One Studio, which there are also some new features that I want to share with you today. And I've been using it for maybe a few weeks already in the beta version, and it is very interesting, and I want to share with you. So first of all, let's look at the new layout of the Capture One, which looks exactly like the normal version. But then if you look closely, under the Metadata 2 tab, you will see that there are a few functions that there is a new tab right next to it, which is Studio. Now these are new functions in the new Studio version, which you are not going to get in the ordinary Pro version. And I want to share with you all these new functions today. So first of all, let's look at this function, the new Live for Studio. Now, actually, this function works very similarly to the original Capture Pilot if you have ever used that before. Now, if you look at my iPad, there are a few icons here. There are a few apps. First of all, you will see that there is one which is the Capture Pilot, the original version Capture Pilot, which we have been using it for like almost 20 plus years, which is it has been serving me very well. And then we have the Capture One, which is an iPad or iPhone version, which is, they released that like last year, I believe. And now that you have the Capture One Pro, and then you have also the Capture One in one go, you have a package so that you have Capture One Pro, and then you have the Capture One on your iPad, and also you have the Capture One Share Online feature in the all-in-one package. And then now you have one new app which is Live, okay? On my computer, it is showing Live for Studio because you need the Studio version before this would work, okay? So the first thing that you need to do is to come back to your computer, and then within the tool, Live for Studio, you need to start sharing, okay? But before that, you need to make sure that you know what folder are you sharing, so that you can share the smart folders that you have created, or the capture folder. Let's say I want to share the capture folder, okay? And then you can share a password. Now, the way that Capture One Live is working is very similar to Capture Pilot. You need to make sure that your iPad with the app running is on the same network with your computer, so that when you start your server, like what I'm going to do, when you start it, your iPad is going to see it. It is not going to be seen like in another room or offline, okay? It is for you to work in the same room with the same network, okay? So I then can set up a password, okay? If I set up a password, anyone else, though they are on the same network, without the password, they would not be able to get inside, okay? So I have set up a password, and then I start sharing, okay? Once I have started sharing, now I can open my Live on my iPad. Now you will see that there is one section which is being shared now from my computer. As you can see on the right, is sharing from my MacBook Pro M2 Max. I can then open it up, and then it will ask for my password because I have set it up a password so that I type in my password, and then I connect. It's connected, but there is nothing in it because I have not shoot anything into my section yet. So let's take a few shots, okay, just to show you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I took 3 shots, okay, and it is showing almost instantaneously on my iPad. And I can click on them, open them up to 100%. I can rate them, okay, I can color tag them, and it is going to show on my computer right here that I have just did that to my photo. And we have also tried turning on a few iPads, and also we have also tried installing this app on some other Apple computers, particularly for the ones running the Apple Silicon, meaning that you have the M1, M2, M3 on your Mac. You can install this app on your computer. But then, because the app was decided for an iPad, so that you don't have the luxury of flipping through the photo. You need to use a mouse to click on it and then you drag it. So let's hope that Capture One is going to give us another app which is decided for our Macs, so that on occasions or in our studio we could have not only iPad but also computers, so that someone else could also help with the whole logistic, the whole working procedure. That would be very helpful. So that is Capture One Live for Studio. But now before we move on, we had the Capture One Capture Pilot, and I've been using it. The only difference that I'm seeing now is, first of all, for Capture Pilot, you can only run it on one iPad or phone. The app itself could only run on one device with your Capture One on your computer. If there is more than one device which need to see all these photos, you can use the web version. We have been having that, and I'm happy with that. We have been using it, though with some glitches, okay? But then now I've been using it for some time with this new app, Live for Studio, and we have been running it on a few iPads. So far, so good. So let's hope that is actually a replacement for Capture Pilot. And I'm suspecting that Capture One is going to discontinue Capture Pilot, because if it is a new feature only for Studio and they have not been updating Capture Pilot for more than 2 years now. So I suspect that they're going to discontinue Capture Pilot. So be careful with that. Now let's go into some other new features. You have next capture metadata and next capture keywords. So when we are shooting in studios, there are scenarios that we want to input some more details into the metadata or the keywords of the raw or any other photos that you are capturing into your section. That is very helpful, particularly in some industrial use. Let's say you want to keep the SKU into the photos for easier management when you want to search for these photos. It would be very helpful. Let's say you are shooting for a catalog for a fashion brand and you want to highlight them. These are shoes, these are like jackets. You can do that into the metadata and into the keyword. I think it would be very helpful. And you can do it while you are capturing. And then before you are shooting, let's say you are coming up with a bunch of jackets, you can put that into the keyword so that when you go back after the photo shoot, you want to search them, you have all the keywords in with your raws already. So it will be very helpful, particularly when you are shooting something like industrial in a studio, large volume. So that is very helpful. Now, the next thing is next capture backup. Finally, Capture One is providing a function that you can simultaneously backing up all the captures. Let's say you can attach a SSD or connect it to a server in your studio, and then you want Capture One to back up all these raws simultaneously to an SSD or to your server. Finally, they are providing that. They have been having this function with their enterprise version of Capture One, which I have not been using it at all, because it is kind of difficult to buy that, the enterprise version. We are going to talk about that later on, but then finally, if you need this, you can buy the Capture One Studio and you have this function so that you can back up your raw files simultaneously. Instead of just having one copy on some of your cameras, you know, some brands you can keep a copy on your memory card and then you have a copy on your computer. Now you can have another copy. Let's say you have the agency or a client in your studio and at the end of the day, you just need to unplug it and give it to your client and agency so that you don't even need to copy it at the end of the photo shoot. It is a very good function that I'm very happy that they finally include that into the Capture One, though it is only in the Capture One Studio version. Now, there is also two other new tools that I want to mention here. One of them is the AI crop. Okay. If you have the Capture One Pro version, not the Studio version, you still have some AI crop capability, but for the Studio version, you are going to have the full glory of the new AI crop. So let's do a new demonstration, okay? Let's say you are shooting a bunch of bottles like this one, and you want to crop it in a certain way, okay? And then you can tell these AI crop that, hey, I want you to crop it because some of these bottles, maybe the size is different and then everything is different, but we want to make sure that we just need this. So Capture One, can you look at all four sizes and then set this as a reference? And then I can also tell Capture One to, hey, show me the crop rule. If you look closely, you will notice that Capture One is telling you that I'm keeping 8.4% from the top and 6.3 from the bottom and then 6.2 from the left and 8.6 to the right. Now, as you can see that there is something wrong with this particular one because as you can see the bottle goes here, okay? You have a gap here and here. I'm not sure what's going on, but I think Capture One is still having some minor problem identifying the subject here. So as you can see that you can pick subject and faces. It would also track if there is a face in your photo. It would be very useful in some of those scenarios. You can also use auto, okay? Set this as reference, okay? So let's keep it just like this, okay? And then as you can see that the crop is pretty drastic, okay? I'm going to take a few random photo with random composition. Let's see what would Capture One do for us. Okay. Now, from what you are seeing, it is doing a pretty good job, okay? That is the original photo, and then if you look at the cropping, look at the original photo. As you can see that I'm shooting like everywhere. The cropping is totally different from each other. And it is working pretty well, I would say. Look at the results. They are very close to each other. I think particularly when you are shooting in studio for like catalog or like lay flats for products, this is going to save us a ton of time because you can just set up the camera there and then position the product somewhere almost there, and then Capture One is going to do the cropping for you. If you don't need the cropping to be very precise, let's say, like for example, this photo, as you can see that there is a highlight in the middle, and let's say because of some reason, you are reshooting the same product with different lighting and you are going to composite them together in Photoshop later on, don't use AI crop because as you can see that the crop moves a little bit. It is not going to be like really accurate. Okay, so that if you are doing that, don't use AI crop. But if you are just like what I said, you have a bunch of product that you're shooting in studio and you want to crop them to almost the same crop, this is going to be a very helpful tool for you. Okay. Next, we have this, which is guides. Okay, and you are not going to get that. Originally, you have this grid, okay? I'm using that a lot, okay? You can show grids like that. so that you know the alignment of the product in the photo. But now you have this, okay? Let's use another color so that you can see that clearly, okay? Now that you can set up these guys, okay, and you can type in a number. Let's say I want to have from the top 20%, and then we can set up another one from the bottom, let's say 10%. Now then I can see set up guys exactly the way that I want. Particularly for some scenarios, let's say you are shooting like a cover for a magazine, you want to make sure that the very important details of the photo is not at the top 20% because you have the title, the logo of the magazine or something. Then you can have a very good guideline to help you out. So that is another new function with the guides. And there is also one very important new function that I want to share with you. I have been requesting this from Capture One for a very long time, and finally they are providing that to us in the new Capture One Studio version, which is multiple viewer. When I say viewer is, now normally the way that I'm going to set things up is that we have our own view on our computer, and then I'm going to get into Window and then set up a viewer. And probably I'm going to set this up on an external monitor, or I can turn it to the client or to the model so that they can see what I'm doing. But sometimes I don't need them and I don't want them to see everything that I'm doing. And that's why I've been requesting some other functions, and finally they are providing us with new function like this. So under viewer, you have client viewers. Okay, for example, let's set up a new client viewer. Let's say I want to pin a selected photo so that the client could only see this particular photo. Okay, this is client viewer A. I can put it on another monitor or send it through maybe like sidecar to an iPad or something. And then I can pick a photo, let's say this, and then I can pin this to viewer A. Okay, so that the client would only be able to see one particular photo that I'm forcing them to look at. Let's say I want to ask them for opinion, and then we are shooting at the same time. Let's say there is a photographer shooting there, and then I'm talking to the client, talking about this particular photo, asking them for permission, approval, or opinion. Then I can do this. Or I could also set up another viewer. Now, very interestingly, you can't do this here, okay? You can't open up another client viewer here. You need to go somewhere else and set it up. Let's say I want to pin this to client B, okay? Client viewer B. Then I need to go back in here and say, hey, I want it to do something else. Let's say follow selected or follow capture, okay? Let's say this, I can set it up so that it is following selected. So whenever whichever photo I'm selecting, it is going to be followed, and then the client B would follow this. Probably it is not a client view. Let's say I'm setting this up for the makeup artist, or I don't know, for a monitor I'm positioning in front of the model so that the model know what I'm talking about. They could look at a particular photo that I'm picking for them. Or I can set it up another viewer, and I could set it to follow capture. Okay, if I have new capture, okay, let's say I have new captures coming back in, okay, a few more photos, I can then set it up and let Capture One provide that to C. Okay, it's our focus, I'm sorry, okay. And then I can pin another one for B. B is for the selected one, as you can see that, okay. And then viewer C would be following my capture, okay. I'm taking a few more photos just to show you that it is going to, we can set it up in this fashion so that we can force our client viewers to look at particular photos to help us with the workflow. I think that is very important because before this, the only way that we are working with Capture One is to have one viewer and everybody is looking at that particular viewer, okay? But otherwise, we cannot do anything. Of course, we still have a Capture Pilot before, and then we have live now. But now with live and also different viewers, we can set it up in the studio so that clients and different colleagues from different departments could look at different photos as needed. I think that is very important for us. Now, I have went through all the new functions that we are having in the new studio version. The moment of truth now, which is the price. Let's take a look at the price of the new Capture One Studio. Now we are on Capture One's website here, okay? Now this is the normal Pro license, perpetual. You're going to buy it and then you can have it. You don't have to pay any subscription, nothing. But then you are being limited for upgrading your Capture One Pro, okay? I think it is for 3 months, okay? Something like that. But then you don't have to pay anything else, which is 2,415 Hong Kong dollar, okay? Now then you have the Pro subscription, which per annual, it is around 1,400 Hong Kong dollar, which is around 180 US dollar per year, okay? So if you are paying for like 2 years, it's almost a perpetual license, okay? And as I remember, Capture One was saying that if you pay for 5 years, they are going to give you 1 perpetual copy of Capture One, okay? So that is the Pro version. And then you have the all-in-one version, which you will get also the Capture One for iPad, not live, not the live app that we show. It is Capture One for your iPad or your iPhone, okay? And then you can also share your photo online, and each section could share for a month, okay? And you also got the sharing capability with the Pro subscription, but that is only for 24 hours, and you cannot apply watermark, things like that. So if you need that, I've been using it for a very long time, for more than a year now. I think that is like what Capture One is suggesting is the best value, okay? But then you have the new studio version, which is only for subscription, and the price is 3 times the Pro subscription and double the price of the all-in-one subscription. Okay, you have everything in the all-in-one, the share online and then the app, everything. And you have the new functions like what I just said, the AI crop, the new live for the new app, and then you have the AI crop, and then you have the viewer. Now, to be honest with you, because the live is very similar to Capture Pilot, though you can use it on multiple iPads, okay? That is the only difference. And you have the AI crop, which is a bit different from the Pro version. You still have AI crop, but not as sophisticated. But then the main difference, the only big difference, is the client viewer, at least from my point of view. Of course, you also have the next capture metadata and next capture keyword. But then the price is doubled. So depending on how much you value these new functions and how eager do you need this new function, you have to pay 3 times or doubled from what you have been paying to get this. So I know that the Capture One Studio is, you have some very good functions, new functions, but the price is really making me think about whether I should upgrade it to the Studio subscription or not. I'm still struggling. I'm going to make up my mind in the coming few days, and I don't know, what do you think? So please leave comments down there under my YouTube channel and let me know, what do you think about this new Capture One Studio? Are you going to pay for it? for the new Capture One Studio?